Hello, no one. I'm live. If you are rewatching this sometime ahead in the future, feel free to just like skip ahead at least like 6 or 7 minutes, maybe about 5 minutes or so. I like to give everyone a couple minutes to kind of get everything ready and then come in here. Because me, I was kind of fixing my hair, getting ready. I still look like somewhat of a bum, but again, I'll just give everyone a couple minutes to get in here before I get started. For those of you who are in here already, thanks for joining. As you guys know and can see in my little mini name tag in the corner, my name is Charlie. Happy Kid says hi, Charlie. I like to say hello to you as well, Happy Kid. I'm curious where you guys are checking in from. Oh, Happy Kid says I've been waiting for about 20 minutes. I'm sorry about that. If you have another time frame that works better for you, I'd be more than happy to do that. If you're saying, hey, Charlie, these are great, I would love to try one early in the morning, more than happy to do that. I've done that a bunch in the past, and I think others have just been asking for more live streams in the afternoon, so that's kind of the gap I'm filling. But Happy Kid, I'll be more than happy to run one tomorrow morning if that works better for you. But I do say thank you for being patient with me here and starting here at 2 o'clock. But yeah, again, thank you all for joining. We'd love to use this time to basically cover anything you guys would like to in regards to a Zoic, whether it's onboarding, optimization, questions, complaints, more of this, less of that. I'm really happy to just leave this time open. I will also be doing some live troubleshooting and optimization, so I can share my screen and I can go through a setup of a domain that I've done in the past. But if one of you guys out there, like Happy Kid, for example, if you're saying, hey, Charlie, I would love to have my placeholder setup looked at, feel free to drop your domain name in the comment section. Exclude the .com or the .org or the .xyz because YouTube will actually filter those accounts. But again, I'll be more than happy to go through a live placeholder setup of one of your guys' domains. I can show you kind of like how I do it, the process I do it, the things I look for, some of the better performing placeholders. But yeah, I can also do that for a Leap setup. Those are usually the two things that you guys ask about a lot and how you would love to see a live kind of breakdown of how basically I will dissect this problem or lack of a problem or misunderstanding of one. But regardless, Happy Kid says, sure, that's fine. Actually, it's evening here, 9:04 p.m. Cool. I'm curious where you're checking in from. Happy Kid, I'm curious where you're checking in from. The online marketer says, hi, Charlie, are you fine? I am from Morocco. It is night now. I see you have day there. Nice. So yeah, I am actually in San Diego, California. I'm very fortunate and very lucky for that. I do want to travel the entire world. I feel like maybe I'll be able to appreciate San Diego a bit more. I'm not actually from California. I'm from the East Coast, so I do really, really love it. Oh, awesome! I got. Oh, I love this name. The Pretty Darn Adorable Crochet Tutorials. I know you've been in here before. They're from Toronto. Happy Kids from Ghana, West Africa. Welcome. That's awesome. Can you tell me what is more important, page views or visits? Great question there. Pretty Darn Adorable Crochet Tutorials. I'll go to that in a second. But to answer your question here, online marketer, I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. I had a pretty fun weekend. Did lots of music, some live music. Helped out a friend with one of his business endeavors, so I offered my free services. That was kind of fun to help a friend out. But yeah, we have day here. I'm doing great. I'm more than happy to be here with you all. If you guys have been here in the past, I do love to kind of run my mouth. I think I have a motor mouth, what they call it. Is sometimes if I just go on a tangent, I can just keep going and going and going. You're probably already picking up on that right now. Michael is a really sweet comment. Zoic may help raise your ePMV, but Charlie is a Zoic's MVP. That was really sweet, Michael. I do appreciate that. And I kind of touched up on that earlier, but I was basically saying that if you guys do want me to go through your placeholder setup or your Leap setup, I can do it like an investigation of what's kind of happening, what you guys might be seeing. But then I can also point you guys in the right direction of steps to take, things to do, and I can also do that for ePMV or also a placeholder setup. But again, on top of that, I'm really honestly I'm willing to do whatever you guys want me to do. If you want me to cover something super random, but you might all find beneficial, I'm more than happy to do that. Okay, I'm going to jump into some of these questions before I get too behind. I'm getting pretty good at stalling, so I could probably do it for 10 minutes. But now that the questions are stacking up, let me attack these and not fall too far behind. Happy Kid says, I have a lot of questions. First off, that is an adorable picture of the baby in the corner and the little dungarees, the little overalls. But yeah, feel free to ask any of your actual questions here in the comment section. I did also post this in our new community. That's also something I want to go over. It's kind of been a complaint and an issue from both of our ends, both you as a publisher and us as employees. So that's some exciting news. I don't want to miss that. But yeah, you can also questions directly through the YouTube link, or you can do it through the Facebook link, whatever works best for you all. Okay, let's go through this. So, pretty darn adorable crochet tutorials asks, can you tell me what is more important, page views or visits? So, it's a bit difficult to fully answer this question, but I'm going to make an assumption that you are asking this in terms of ePMV. So if you guys are unfamiliar, we do use ePMV as a metric to calculate revenue. And basically the underlying principle here is the more your users will engage with your pages, the better the return of revenue will be. The basic idea being that if your users are actually engaging with your pages for longer periods of time and more content throughout the page, the more ads will be in viewability, and the more ads are in viewability, the higher networks are willing to pay, the more those ads will pay out. That's kind of the idea here. But the formula is total earnings divided by visitors divided by 1,000. So if we're talking about ePMV and revenue, then visits will kind of be the equation here. I'm more than happy to post this equation down in the comment section so you have a pretty good idea of that there. Crochet tutorials, but I'll also just throw down this ePMV calculator, and so you can basically get a good idea of what your ePMV could be if you do have a good understanding of what it is. All right, let's move forward. Again, we have Happy Kid from Ghana. That's super cool. I've always wanted to go to Africa. My mom's done a ton of work there, and I've always wanted to go. I have been to Canada a couple times. Hey, I actually have a Blue Jays jacket on today. Oh, I'm literally showing the wrong side. I have a Blue Jays jacket on today, which is a super cool one. I'm not actually a Blue Jays fan. I'm a Washington Nationals fan and a Padres fan, but still, welcome. Harib says hello. Welcome back, Harib. More than happy to have you. Okay, Codiva says, and this is a perfect layup to what my follow-up point was going to be with how our community is going to be used from now. They asked, hi, Charlie. I've been having issues with my website since yesterday. And since I was removed from Twist after I was upgraded to level 1, I couldn't find a way to contact support. So I think in your instance here, you have actually been in Twist for more than, 45 days. So once you actually do meet the 45 days of basically earning revenue, you will get removed from Twist and put into our community. We understand that this is a major confusing standpoint for two reasons. The first being that when you come to Ezoic and you ask for support, it's probably a little bit weird and misleading that you're actually going away to a third-party Discord like Twist to get support. You're like, okay, am I even working with Ezoic employees or etc.? But then it's also confusing once you move away from it, like where do you go and ask questions from there? So I'm happy to tell you that as of yesterday, we basically built out a version of, kind of what our community was, our global community. If you guys are not familiar with, it's kind of like you research a question. If the question isn't there, you can basically post your question in a thread, just like you would Twist. But basically what I'm trying to get at is now we're basically going to remove Twist entirely as a form of support. We just thought it was really confusing. It wasn't as easy as for touch to code, hands-on if there was issues. But now that we basically have removed it and all new publishers are going to be coming through the community, and our new community is basically going to act just like Twist was, but internally. So it won't be confusing to get support. It won't be difficult to load the application. You'll know exactly where to go once you pass the 45 days or 60 days of being live. But Cody, what I'm trying to say here is, for new publishers, this won't be confusing and an issue anymore, because it definitely was an issue for you and others. But to answer your question, you can actually now post in the global community, Codivo, or excuse me, Codevo or VO, however you would like me to say it. But you can post in the global community, and then someone from there, usually Kaylee, will help you out, or someone from our team as well could also. But you can also ask questions here in the live stream, which is why I think this is a cool feature. So go ahead and ask some of those questions, and I'll do the best of my ability to answer them if I can. Shoko says, greetings, Charlie. Hope you're good, Chief. Recently been upgraded to another level. I was hoping you could help just taking a look at my website, Interez, to see if all my ads are set up well, so I won't miss out on this in Q4. Thanks. Yes, let me do that for you. I know your domain by heart, and I thought we were working on something else, but it seems like you got the approval. Seems like you have ads showing. But they actually do bring up a really, really good point, which is also why the underlying topic of this live stream was going to be monetized more. It is because we are going to be moving into the fourth quarter, the end of the fourth quarter here soon. And historically, that is when the ad rates really go through the roof. As you guys know, the ad rates kind of go off what the current standing of our economy is, and always during this time is when it booms, because companies are promoting and advertising, spending tons and tons of money there because of the holiday season and all those things. People, that's when the economy picks up. We put more money into it. But yeah, I'll be more than happy to do this. Sure, pretty darn adorable. I love that. But yeah, just let me know really quick, Shoko, before I share your domain with everyone. Can you just let me know that it is okay for me to show my domain to everyone, or to everyone in this thing? But yeah, before I share my screen and go through your placeholder setup, which is something I do want to do, just let me know if it's okay to share your domain with everyone. And while I do that, I'm going to keep answering some questions. Happy Kid says, so I had issues getting on board with Ad Manager. Don't know. I've been in good standing with Google, but they won't allow me to set up an Ad Manager account. So I had to remove my domain from the Zoic. If you want to let me know what your domain name is, I can take a look into this. But what it sounds like is, when you guys do apply to Google Ad Manager, there's going to be two major reviews. The first is going to be on your account, just to make sure that there have been no issues in the past, and to make sure you also don't have another Google email. And then the second is they're actually going to review your domain. And what this sounds like happened is that the account got denied, which would be for one of those two reasons. Either A, you had issues with Google in the past using the same account, or B, there is another Google account that has the same information. Sometimes it's the same phone number, sometimes it's the same first last name of the account, sometimes it's the same physical address, the shipping address, or etc. So if you're getting denied for duplicate, that's something I would always ask is, do you have another account? Do you have any siblings under the same roof with the same account? Do you have anyone else with the same name in the same account? Anyone using the same phone number? And then go from there. But if you were denied for ineligible, which means Google says, hey, actually this publisher has had issues with us in the past, it's in your best interest to not move forward with monetization. And being a Google ad partner, we do have to respect those decisions they make in order to maintain a healthy relationship with them. So it's not that we're denying you for this reason. It's just the fact that Google's saying, hey, there's been issues in the past. Let's just avoid this at all costs. We don't want more in the future. And being a Google partner, we have to respect your decision there. It's not that we don't want to work with your domain. It does us no good to turn your domain away, your account away. It's not something we would like to do. But again, it's something we just have to adhere by. Michaelis, hopefully I said that right. I really hope I did not butcher that. Hello, Charlie. I have a website about politics. The articles are written from scratch and have some phrases from politicians said live and on TV, and I put them in quotes. and got my site disapproved by Zoic. So you can actually still quote politicians and paragraphs and speeches and things they say, of course. But we want to paraphrase when we can and put it in our own words if possible. But if you do want to grab a small snippet, that's totally fine. Just make sure that, you know, a large, overwhelming majority of the content on the page is still original. So you can say, hey, X politician said this small snippet, this is my interpretation, this is what others interpreted as, this is what they meant, blah, blah, blah. But we don't want the primary focus of the content to be all quotes, because that is something that we probably will deny. But again, this is something you should probably reach out to us and support, because if you're saying, hey, Charlie, I only did paraphrase a little bit, I only grabbed a small snippet or two, so I think this could be a false positive, that's very plausible and definitely feasible. So we can definitely take a second look into this to make sure we do not mess this up, because we don't want to be turning away a site if it is okay and does abide by policy. Happy Kid says, P.S. I was approved by Zoic though. So this is going to go back to the question prior about issues with Ad Manager. Even if you are approved by Zoic on your domain for monetization, if Google does flag you and say, hey, this account in the past has had issues, we can't move forward with monetization, unfortunately. So our reviews are independent of each other, but if Google reaches out and says, hey, this is the status of the publisher, we're going to have to sit there and abide by it. Online Marketer says, can you check my leap settings and site speed for my website? Absolutely. The only thing I don't know is your actual domain. So if you were to throw your domain down in the comment section, please do, and I'll be able to look at it. Again, if you guys do put your domain down in the comment section, make sure you exclude the .com or something like that, or don't say, hey, my domain name is. The reason being, Google will actually filter out these comments, and they're really annoying about it. I did change the privacy settings, but it seems like they're still going to cancel out the URLs. Blender Basecamp says, hi, Charlie. It looks like we're writing a question and hit the enter tab to go down a line, but it actually entered the question. I do that all the time. Classic. And if you were just saying hello, then hello to you as well. I haven't gotten the approval yet. Oh, it's okay, Charlie. Okay, I'm going to share my screen really quick and just do a quick. I'm trying to think of what screen I want to share it on. I think I'm going to do the one right in front of me. Cool. But I will say thank you for allowing me to share your domain with everyone. It does help a lot. I think seeing these things live sometimes are just the best move forward, because I'm personally a visual learner. I know some people can do it other ways, but I'm a visual learner, so I'm going to do that for you all here. Share my screen. Cool. So I'm going to start here in the dashboard. And basically what they wanted me to look at is to basically see their current placeholder setup and make some changes from there. Level 4 site. So some of these metrics are absolutely incredible. And I'm a bit more hesitant to actually make these changes because you're not actually a Access Now publisher. Not only that, but you are a very large one. So I'm happy you're in here with me. This is something I would love to go over with you guys, but these this dashboard Humix is available for a lot of you guys, but Flickify is not yet available for our publishers. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but what I'm trying to get at is you guys should be anticipating this being your dashboard very, very shortly. When you guys do this, when you guys do get this available, which should be around the 17th of October, you can then utilize this feature. But essentially what Flickify actually does is it will turn some written content into actual video content that you can share on your pages. So when you guys do that, you can then have a video on your page. You can have a pre-roll video ad, you can have a mid-roll video ad, or you can have a post-roll video ad, and or both. But essentially, this is going to be huge because Google's actually going to be making some changes on their end, and they're going to be kind of changing the way Google Search Console actually works. I just read an an article on this recently. They're going to be basically experimenting with this first on mobile versions of your pages, but they will be giving, a bit of a priority. I'm not saying it'll increase your rankings, but Google is going to recognize the transition that the market is kind of seeing in terms of utilizing videos for your content. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I do have the right domain here because this is a rather large. Okay, I definitely do. Let's take a look. So essentially, the reason why I went to the analytics tab of your dashboard is because when I like to check out the placeholder setups, and if I'm going to do a placeholder review for you all, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to go to your landing pages. So you'll find that content landing pages, and this will show and rank by your most frequently visited pages. So you can see this first page right here, how he squandered millions of dollars in order to pursue his ambitions, has the most visits. That's why it's listed first. What I like to do is I like to go with these pages first, the reason being they're the most frequently visited. So if I'm making changes, these are going to be the most important ones, and then go from there. But again, Interez, I know you gave me permission to actually change the placeholder setup, but because this is such a large account and it does have an account manager, and it's currently still with them, I'm not going to change anything, but I will activate your placeholders and I can give you basically my 2 cents and say, hey, these are the things that are set up really well. These are potentially some of the things I would change, and go from there. Started off, you have 2 top of the page placeholders. This is okay. I would assume that this one fills more because it's going to perform well and is better for user experience underneath the menu bar. But I think something that is important to show you guys here, I see how this one is top of the page 191 and this one is top of the page 179. This basically means that they're both the same placeholder, as in they're both top of the page, but since they don't have the same number, they have a different identifier. The ad tester can actually test both of these locations for a top of the page ad. So it won't actually show, or actually could show both, but basically this is giving our AI another variable to test. Say, hey, let's either show one above the menu here or one below the page here. But as you guys show, that this one normally outperforms the one above because it hurts user experience less. You have an AR sidebar placeholder at the top. That one filled, that's beautiful. You have under your title page, this is awesome. A potential room for a placeholder could be between the recent uploaded news here and underneath this here. So you could have one here. And now that I scroll with the page, something I notice is that this sidebar content is actually coming down with the page. So one thing you could actually do is you could have the sidebar content fixed to the top of the page, and then you could have a sidebar floating down here. And what this will do is when this will stay and I scroll, the sidebar placeholder will come down the page with the scroll. I think the contrary, the other side of this, what I'm saying is keeping this sidebar content floating with the page and not having the sidebar ad float. This is also actually a good practice as well, because the farther I go down the page, these articles are going to remain in my field of view, which means that my future click and my next click could have a higher chance of going to one of these pages. So that might be very beneficial for you all because you now have more page views. You have a user engaging with another article. So it is a little bit of subjectivity here. Maybe you have a tool site and you basically have like 2 pages that publishers see 99% of the time, then maybe having the sidebar content stay fixed on the page and then have the sidebar floating come down with the page, that might make more sense. But maybe for a publisher like this who has tons of really good articles that are constantly going viral and whatnot, maybe having the sidebar content stay in the viewability is your best practice. Anyway, coming down the page, this looks great. You have 2 sides. You have a WordPress one here. When you guys do see this WP in front of the placeholder name, that means these were generated via the plugin. So that's just what that means. So you see this one's in content 4. That means this one was added via the Chrome extension. Another WordPress one. These all look super great. WordPress mid content, long content. Maybe you could add another one right here, just above Meet John. Look at here. Potentially another one down here. But anytime you guys see large gaps in content where an ad could be served, that would basically be a really good area to add one, or what I like to call is prime real estate. So this is interesting. It looks like this related articles section is actually below the content, and it looks like potentially we tried to add a sidebar bottom right here, but that makes sense as it's not filtering down here because this floats with the screen. So this is something that we want to look into, maybe deactivate, or we can basically figure out the next steps there. And then from there, the only one that I would say is you might have infinity scroll enabled on this page. The last one I would say is basically to do a bottom of the page placeholder. But other than that, this looks really, really solid. This is a great placeholder setup. It looks like you probably had your account manager, Mike, help you out with this. But regardless, this looks really solid, actually. Cool. Hopefully that wasn't too boring, and hopefully that made sense for some of you guys. But again, I didn't really want to go and mess with your configuration too much because you did have it set up by someone from the team. Pretty darn adorable crochet tutorial says, one more question regarding the visits. I have my article set up to lead people to other parts of my website. Do you think that is a waste of time then? Again, this is going to be, it could depend on the niche. It could depend on how your users actually engage with your pages. Do you find that your page view count is really high? That could be good because they're going to other pages. If your users are kind of going to one page and then bouncing, maybe this is something you should promote less focus on. But I will say that, increasing the page views will help with ePMV as well. It's not just considering visits in total. So, your engagement between different pages and the actual total visitor count are both rather important here. So I don't think this is a waste of time. And I know I kind of talked about that for a second there with the sidebar content. But I do think directing users to your other pages is a really good practice, which is also why we originally kind of came out with the video player. Because if a lot of our publishers were running YouTube pages, and a lot of them were very successful. But as you guys know, if you've ever been on YouTube, you probably could have gone to someone's page. You said, hey, I saw this video they posted. I really wanted to see it. But the related articles below that is basically what Google or what YouTube recommends. And what YouTube recommends 99% of the time is not going to be another video on your page. So then the user request path will basically go to another video, which is on another account. You kind of lose that visitor. So one really nice thing of managing and embedding all your YouTube videos through Ezoic and on your pages is that you do get to kind of control where the user goes after. Of course, they could close your domain and go off the internet. That's totally plausible as well. But having your videos and everything on your own domain kind of keeps the realm of control there. Blender Basecamp says, for header mediation with ad networks other than Google AdSense, do we need to sign up with them on their own website before enabling them using Ezoic's header bidding? Yeah, so you will need to get set up with them outside of Ezoic and then add them through mediation. If you guys are unfamiliar with mediation, it's something that's really good and beneficial to get familiar with. So mediation is essentially an app that allows Ezoic partners to bid against other networks. So the example here being AdSense, as they said, a lot of publishers come from AdSense and also want to use Ezoic or split test or whatever they want to do. What mediation does is it allows AdSense partners to bid against Ezoic ones on the Ezoic versions of your site. So if you're showing 100% traffic through Ezoic, but you already had AdSense enabled in the past, it's a really good idea to enable AdSense mediation, because if AdSense outbids an Ezoic bid, you will basically get that higher bid from AdSense into your earnings. And that will show in your dashboard. You'll have your earnings on your homepage, and then below that, it'll show mediation earnings. So you can show and see the data of how much Ezoic is outbidding and vice versa. A common question and something I want to touch up on is that those mediated earnings, if they're through AdSense, for example, those will actually be paid out through AdSense and not Ezoic. So you might be like, hey, my total revenue was $30. Why aren't I getting paid out $30? I'm only getting paid out $25. Well, that's because $5 of those $30 was made through mediated earnings. So those mediated AdSense earnings will be paid out through AdSense. So you'll get the $5 from AdSense and then the 25 from Zoic. Celestial Tidepool says community is totally confusing. Landed there yesterday, then followed contact support from a knowledge base article, and no way to get back to there to see if I received any responses. Okay, so this is a really good point, and I think this was something. This is honestly something that I was also, I also kind of had the same idea here. Um, but yeah, I think so. When I posted this thread for the live stream, I wanted to post it there in the community. I kind of found the same thing where it's like you go to the search bar. Actually, I'm just gonna share my screen and show you so you guys can kind of see how it does normally work. Cool. Let me share my screen really quick and just give you guys a quick little rundown because I do agree this is a bit confusing, and I think it's going to be confusing for others that originally. We'll find the things that work and don't, and we'll make changes to make sure it's easier for you all. Cool. So let's say you guys said, "Hey, I have an ePMV question. What is going on?" What I'll do is here is, you're in the community. I'm going to say earnings, right? You can search all discussions for earnings. You can see them here. But actually down here at the bottom, it's going to say ask the help community. So if you do see that these questions do not apply to what you're asking, or essentially they do not make sense, you can go down here and say ask the help community. And then once you do that, you can say, hey, look, let me choose a tag. Let's do access now onboarding. Okay. Discussion title. How to increase earnings, right? And you can say something along the lines here was like, hey, I was earning X amount, and then at this day, earnings started to drop, etc. Or you can basically describe your issue there. But once you actually post this, then it will take you to the homepage, and you'll see your thread there. And when a new comment comes, you should get a notification here, and I'll have like a little one next to it, and that's when you can see it. But again, Celestial, if you are still having a bunch of issues with this, please let us know because we will make those changes so it's easier for you all. We did just put a ton of work into basically making the community much more straightforward and less confusing. But we understand that this is a long-term is a long-term project, so we just want to continue to optimize it. And if others are still confused, let us know maybe something that might work better. Of course, we can come up with our own solution as well. But this is a very valid, not a complaint, but it's like, constructive criticism. And it is something that we'll be prioritizing here moving forward. Let me fly through some of these questions. I've been rambling a lot. Mr. Cast Iron says, well, first off, welcome back. Another amazing icon picture. I think you've been in here before. I've shared my AdSense link, but it only shows 50% completed in the level dashboard. Why is this? So sometimes when you actually do this and link your AdSense, all we need to do here, Mr. Cast Iron, is just add your pub ID to the configuration on the back end, and then they'll be fully completed. It should be doing this automatically, but there have been a couple instances where it has not been. So please just reach out to us in support, and I can add that for you in the back end, and you'll be totally good. Erwin says, still waiting to be approved for a Zoic monetization with Google domain ad approval. So if you do have that, please just reach out to us and say, hey, Charlie, I'm trying to get my domain reviewed. These reviews on your domain will take up to 10 business days, the Zoic review, but a high majority of these reviews can be done within 48 hours of integration. If you have more views, sometimes they can be done within 24 hours. But again, if it's taking too long, just reach out. We can give you an update and say, hey, we do actually need to wait a couple more days just because there's a very few number of visits. Or hey, we see that there is, but maybe you're just backed up in the queue. Let's see if we can expedite this for you. Joanne says, hi, Charlie. Hi, Joanne. Great to see you. I know you sent me an email recently. So Joanne asked a question earlier. I don't know if she asked it again in the chat, but I'm basically just going to answer it here for her now. Joanne says, so if you guys do go to your levels dashboard, there's basically going to be optimization setting or opportunities, and these will basically be um, divvied up by levels. So there's like a beginner, there's a novice, there's an intermediate, and there's an expert. And then a novice one of the sections is placeholder density. And for her, she was at 90 of 100, and she found that the placeholder density for her tablet was 0. So the first thing I would do, Joanne, is to make sure the ad tester is actually enabled for tablet. Visit your pages using a tablet and see if ads are showing. When I did the other day when you asked, I did see ads showing, and I did see placeholders as well. So this is probably something that I just need to flag with our team. I don't think this is going to be an issue on your end. But again, I'd be more than happy to do this. But I did see ads coming through tablet. And Joanne, what I did to confirm this is when I actually went into your analytics, I could view your devices and I could view your tablet traffic, and I could see that you were earning revenue through your tablet traffic, which confirms that your users are also seeing ads. I tried submitting a ticket on a Zoic, but I was getting a forbidden error. I asked in the Zoic community, but the discussion was closed, and I was told to submit a ticket instead. Okay, so I think this is going to be because you are outside of the 45 or the 90-day optimization period. But again, we want to make sure that if you are ever reaching out for help, that you can find it easily. Codeville, I'm pretty sure I actually remember your domain from the past. So if I can pull this up, I can kind of see where your account is at. And I think I have it right here. I'm 99% sure this is yours. And it looks like you have been live for over 30 days and longer, actually, which is probably why you were moved out. But again, this is something I want to get looked at for you. Make sure I get looked into it for you. Can you check my mobile? Pretty darn adorable, please. Have been saying that there are too many ads and they're scared to click because I offer free downloads and they aren't sure what to click on. Let me check this out for you. But if you guys see how I highlighted her comment, she said pretty darn adorable with no spaces without the .com, so that way YouTube won't exclude this. Let me share my screen right now. Okay, sorry, I was pulling this up. I want to make sure I got this right. Cool. So here I have prettydarnadorable.com. Honestly, this looks great. She did want us to check out her mobile versions of her pages. So here I can load this. Let's do iPhone 12. This is a newer one. And then what we're going to want to do here is actually reload the page. So again, her concern was that her users are saying that there are a lot of ads showing, potentially too many, and they don't know where to click. I just wanted to make sure that your menu looks okay. So I am saying to top of the page placeholders right here. I'm kind of just going to go through and check out your setup from there. It looks like this image is failing to load through. I can actually show you guys the parameter to add to your URL to basically see if Leap is going to be the cause for concern here with this image. If it is, we can basically work backwards from there. But if not, I'm going to ask if you basically have any other image optimization setting or features enabled on the outside of a Zoe, because it looks like this is happening for a couple. It's actually not even loading through for an ad. So I don't think this is going to be related to Leap. But basically, what I'm going to do here in the top is I'm going to add question mark site speed underscore preview equals -1. And this will basically access the page bypassing Leap, or basically turning Leap off and then going to access the page. But to answer your question, these two top of the page ads that are showing here, I would probably agree with your users that this is probably not the best practice. They might perform well in terms of revenue, but in terms of user experience, it might not be the best. Not only that, sometimes a lot of our publishers will actually deactivate ads on the home page just so their users can find the content they were looking for. It's not something you have to do, but again, this is something that you could do. So when I did add that question mark, site speed preview equals -1, I was not getting any other image issues. So we can basically troubleshoot that view as well. I can do that later on in the tutorial or the live stream. But I wanted to make sure I did answer this question for her. Oh, wait, hold on. It's because I loaded. Hold on, let me see if I can do this in. Cool. iPhone 12, let's reload the page. So right here, we're going to activate the Chrome extension. We're going to go to activate placeholders here in the corner. Let the page load up a bit. So we actually only see one in content placeholder here. But what I think the issue is going to be these AI placeholders that are enabled, which were both the two that we're showing under here. So I would probably agree that maybe having this many ads on your mobile homepage is creating quite a disruption. We did add a new feature recently. So with these AI placeholders, we can use the Chrome extension to either not show on this page only or not show on the entire domain. I will say showing do not add on show on this entire domain is not a good practice because we do not want sorry, I'm trying to find some of her comments because I know she was, okay, my engagement has increased a lot since doing this. Yes, you can share. She also said, thanks, this is an ad. I tried to turn off the video on front page, but they still show. Can you delete one of these ads? Sure. I can definitely do that, but you can also do this on your end, and I almost would, prefer you to do that. But again, you could do this, activate your placeholders. I wasn't sure which one was the video ad, but if you did want to delete it, you could basically just do exactly as I did here. You could do don't show on this page, and then go from there. I do want to check out one of your articles because this is just your homepage. Sorry for taking so long going through that. I just want to get a good idea of what the placeholders on the homepage was. Okay, so yeah, these are definitely, this is probably going to be an AI ad again that's being added to the top of the page. Or if you have some other ad types enabled, we can also look into that, into your ad settings, and maybe see if one of those are creating this issue. Okay, I do think that these two top of the page ads are a bit much. And then even down here below, you have two. So you basically have 4 ads showing before we even get to the title of this. So this is definitely something we want to work on. I'm not going to remove them from your entire domain because I think it's important to go through potentially page by page of what exactly is going on. But so if I do don't show on this page, that'll only remove the placeholder from this page specifically. And let's see here, because I think we will need to work backwards a little bit. So now when we load the page, you do have your title here, your domain name, You do have the top, and then I would say having an ad here is actually fine. This is not an issue. The ones that serve two in one slot are actually sometimes a really good practice. It does look like you have potentially some CSS that is enabled on the back end, which is why we have some of these ads showing outside right here. But again, this is something we can test. And this is probably something a little bit better. I don't want to go in here for too long, but pretty darn adorable crochets. I'm more than happy to work through this with you right after, and just make sure that this is fully dialed in. So you see, she does have a video playing right here. That's beautiful. She has a pre-roll ad, and now it's moved to the bottom of the screen. Sorry for scrolling fast. I just want to get a good idea. So when you do see a large chunk of content like this, sometimes I like to call this prime real estate. And this prime real estate could be a really good place to actually add more placeholders. But the reason I'm not making too many changes to your pages here is that I do think that we should probably configure leap first, or that was just bad caching that was breaking the image. But regardless, there's definitely some stuff I can help and walk through with you there. Let me test this page again. I know I stopped sharing my screen. I just wanted to see if I could figure out why this ad is filling outside of the CSS. Another thought that I have is if you do have mediation enabled through AdSense, sometimes we have to configure settings on the back end so that when AdSense does win the inventory or wins the bid here, sometimes it does not abide by the size placeholders that we set up through Ad Tester. So we need to make sure that if AdSense does win a bid, that they still abide by the rules that you set in Ad Tester, which means like I don't want an ad to show too big or too small, etc. The online marketer, you said you wanted to share, and I know you asked a good question earlier, but I didn't see your domain name ever because you wanted me to check your leap settings and site speed for your website. But I didn't ever get your domain name, so I actually can't pull it up. But they did say a high percentage of my audience on Google are using mobile, so it is very important to have good results on mobile. I 100% agree. And this is something I'm more than happy to walk through. I'm just going to need to know your domain name. Awesome. Okay, that's good. My engagement has increased a lot since doing this. That's beautiful. That's exactly what we want. We do want to prioritize the user experience, even though we do have ad tester and do show ads. That's also why the ad tester was actually built out, is because we wanted to find the perfect medium between good earnings and really good user experience, which is actually the whole beauty of the AI. Ken Roblox, of course I remember your domain, but he said, I used to be on a Zoic, but I moved away to Playwire, and now my earnings have boosted a lot. So what do you think? And I see Jan's comment here, and he probably actually is more likely correct. He said he's been using a Zoic for 2 years, but I moved to an inclusive platform. But yes, he's actually right. So Jan said this is most likely because of an improper setup, and that's 100% true. If you were fully dialed in, you will be earning more than AdSense, and basically getting access to Google's ad network. So I'm not sure what Playwire uses, but this is definitely something that is going to be correlated to improper setup. Sometimes you have objectionable content. Sometimes you have errors on page or broken links. Sometimes your placeholder setup is just not fully dialed in. Even if you've been on a Zoic for 2 years or more, having an imperfect placeholder setup will never allow our AI to basically reach its potential. But yeah, again, you want to set up mediation. You want to use your analytics to figure out which pages are struggling, because there are so many things to do. I think even being on a Zoic for 2 years, your content's probably changing. You're probably writing more articles, or your tools are developing. So as those changes are made, you really want to make sure that even 2 years down the road, you're still staying on top of your content. Because Jan, again, is exactly right here. Oh, seeing your screen, I now know the URL. But Celestial was saying they would like a link from community from the main dashboard. So I'm pretty sure you can do this if I'm not mistaken. Of course, this will depend where and when you signed up. Of course, the example I'm using now is they're a level 2 publisher. But if you guys do have the levels dashboard, which most of you should, if you click on the levels dashboard and then go down to support community, that will actually direct you directly to it. Let me share my screen for you guys really quick. Cool. So this is a level 2 publisher, so this might say level 1 or access now. But essentially what I'll do here is you can either click on it or hover. And then if you go down right here, you'll see support community. And this support community will basically lead directly to our community. And this is where you can see the access now onboarding assistance and troubleshooting. And then you can see those there. You can even see that I have a live, this is where I posted my live stream. Jan, if you're listening, you're a genie. So I was trying to embed this originally, but it looks like I did not do it correctly. It's okay. This is a learning experience. But thank you, Jan, for doing that. Happy Kid says, how long does this take ad manager domain status waiting on Google? So this can take up to 2 weeks, but it's usually done before that. There are times and instances where Google either has errors or backups on their end, so they need to fix something and then get through some of these reviews. But right now, there's been no delay outside the normal, so you shouldn't be waiting a full 2 weeks for your domain review. It should be done before that. Some publishers see it within 2 hours. Some do wait the full 2 weeks. But those that wait the full 2 weeks, that's been far less frequent recently. And for all we know right now is that Google has no backups on their end. Mr. Cast Iron gave me his domain name, so let me go back up and find his question. I'm pretty sure I remember what it was, but I want to make sure I answer his question correctly. What the heck? Why can't I find his question? Oh, I've shared my AdSense link, but it only shows 50% completed in my level. Why is this? So I can pull up your domain and show, but Mr. Cast Iron, if there's something else you want me to actually look into, specific with your setup outside that, because that's something I can just do on my end outside of this live stream. If you do have something else you want me to pull up, like I can either do a placeholder review or I can check out your lead, just let me know. Happy Kid says, can I monetize my website with only Ezoic ads? Yes, but I know your question prior was, do I need to get this ad manager review or whatnot? So if you do want to show ads through Ezoic, you're still going to have to get the approval for ad manager on your domain and account. Oh, but can I monetize my website with only Ezoic ads without AdSense mediation? Yes, of course you can. Absolutely. Just do it like you know it. Welcome back. Thanks for another amazing question. So how does Ezoic have many CDNs within the US? So yes, we do use Amazon Web Servers, which there are, let me see. Let me just get a better answer. So, because I know there's one in Virginia and I know there's one in NorCal. Okay, so there's one in NorCal, there's one in Northern Virginia. which is actually almost where I grew up, completely irrelevant. There's one in Ohio, and there's also one in Oregon. So yeah, we do have 4 throughout, and these are Amazon Web Services, so they are great. But yeah, we also have them all around the world as well. We, as in Amazon does, but still. Oh, man, okay. Oh, yes, ad. Okay, so Mr. Cast Iron did reply, so I'm going to go through his, and then I'm going to do the same for you, the online marketer. Cool. Okay. Thank you for letting me share your domain. I really appreciate it. Okay. So they asked me to do a quick little placeholder ad review. All right. So what I'm going to do now is what you guys seen in the past, and this is just like kind of a best practice. Whenever I want to do these placeholder reviews or ad reviews, I'm usually going to start with your most frequently visited pages. So again, we're going to go to the analytics tab of your dashboard. We're going to go over to the left side of your page. I know my page is kind of zoomed out a bit, so let me just. Is that a little better for you guys to see? Okay. I'm going to go to content right here, and then I'm going to find landing pages. So again, we can filter through and see your most frequently visited landing pages. You can see your home page is your most visited one. That's okay. I won't be going through your home page because that's not always the page that users engage with the most. It does look like they are engaging with this page quite a bit. But I want to compare ePMV from a couple pages. So we can see that this page right here is decently visited. It's got 17 visits in the last 7 days. And this one has 56, but this one's got a $31 ePMV, and this one has a $20 ePMV. So if you're sitting here and you're Mr. Cast Iron and you're saying, why do I see this kind of high variance between two articles that are very similar in length and setup? When you only have 56 to 17 users, the variance can be skewed pretty easily. So, if you have 100,000 visits on a page, you probably know pretty well, what the next metric could look like because you have so much data. And your ePMV will be basically pretty set in stone. But let's say you have 17 visits like you do on this page. If I were to visit for 5 minutes and I was really into it and I went to the top of the bottom of the page 4 or 5 times, your ePMV could be skewed pretty heavily and positively in a good way, and quite literally the contrary. So this one has a couple bit more visits, so this one might be a little bit more accurate in terms of what your normal ePMV would look like. But that's just something to consider here. But let's check out both of these pages and kind of see the differences. Here's that beautiful icon that you guys saw earlier next to his name. Let's allow this to load. So you do have one above the page here. You have a sidebar, another sidebar. So you have 2 sidebars before the recent posts, which is okay. Sorry, I was going a little bit too quick there. It's fine you do not have one here, but I would say having one mid-content right here is beautiful. Keep scrolling down. We have this sidebar bottom one. If you guys noticed before, this sidebar bottom did not float with the page, but we did get a new ad load in here, which is a little bit longer, probably a much better viewability. But Mr. Cast Iron, can you let me know if it's okay? Oh, Celestial said, sorry, I had to pause to get dinner started about 5 minutes behind. Thanks. Didn't realize that was a menu. Yeah, I can for sure help with that again, Celestial. But again, Mr. Cast Iron, can you let me know if it's okay just to actually make some changes to your site? I don't want to go in here and make changes without your permission. So if you do say, hey, Charlie, it's okay, go ahead. I'll be more than happy to do that. But I would rather wait for you to give me permission, as this is your domain. This is pretty funny. Stinky pot is not good. I agree. Cool. Placeholder setup honestly looks really strong. Some great comments down here. It looks like you're attending to most of them, Mike. Mr. Cast Iron says yes, but now I know that his name is Mike. Wait, I think this is Mike. Oh, right here. Oh no, stinky pot is not a good thing, is it? Sorry. I love this article. Cool. You do have a bottom of the page floating right here, so this is awesome. I'm not. If you guys do like native ads, you could always add one to the bottom of your pages. I think that's a little bit more subjective, but I will go through and basically check out his setup when these are actually enabled, so I can see all the potential ad locations. I think it's very important for you guys to remember that adding more placeholders to your setup does not mean that more ads will show. What it means is our AI has more variables to test, which is never a bad thing. Cool. Again, we're going to see that top of the page. This is a WordPress one. Again, a bit subjective. This one probably could be performing really well. I won't delete it because if you guys do see, if you hit delete, it'll say, hey, this accounts for 2% of your total ad revenue. Are you sure you want to delete it? And most of the time, I want you guys to say no. We don't want to cancel these. Not only does this contain, a chunk, a little bit of your actual earnings, but these placeholders actually also contain, very valuable data to our AI. So when you do delete a certain placeholder, one like this that gets a ton of data as it's the top of the page, deleting it also removes some of the data that our AI has. So it will reset your, not reset, but it will set back your progress and the AI is learning. So maybe your best bet to do what we saw in the other domain, interres.com, maybe add another top of the page right here instead. And then our AI will basically figure out which of these two locations is performing better in terms of revenue and user experience. So again, a WordPress sidebar top, awesome. There's also a sidebar here. I'm assuming this is one that you added. Then we have under a page title, WordPress, under first paragraph, this is beautiful. WordPress under second paragraph, this is beautiful, right above an image, that's great. But now I want you guys to look at this here. So this is actually an advertisement, but as you guys can see, all of the Ezoic ads, when I enable the Chrome extension, see how this is currently enabled? All of the ads will turn to placeholders. And since this ad is still showing, this means that this is a non-Ezoic ad. And this is really bad for two reasons. Well, one, it'll hurt your revenue a ton. But two, it's because our AI does not realize that you have a sidebar placeholder or you have a sidebar ad right here. Because if our AI did recognize this, it would be wrapped in Ezoic code and we'd basically be removing it and serving an Ezoic ad. But this is just like my most immediate red flag because I want to make sure that there aren't AdSense ads showing on other parts of your pages as well. Again, our AI won't know, which locations to test. It might not know which sides exactly. But then other than that, the last thing I would basically do is just add a sidebar bottom floating placeholder. So that way, when I do get to this part of your articles and I'm scrolling, this sidebar bottom will come down with the page. And it won't hurt user experience. It'll stay in the viewability. It'll be a really good performing ad. Other than that, your placeholder setup is really, really good. This is a really, really good placeholder setup. I can actually remove this ad from my end, the non-Ezoic one. This is actually something that you guys can actually set up when you do onboard. It'll say, hey, do you want to remove non-Ezoic ads from your Ezoic versions? I think most of the time people click no because, and very understandably, it's kind of scary. It's like, no, I don't want to remove certain ads from my pages. But it's actually just saying this. It's saying, hey, when you are showing Ezoic versions of your pages, let's remove all non-Ezoic ads. So I'm actually just going to configure this really quickly for you on the back end, because this will hurt user experience, this will hurt revenue. So this is definitely a fix that I want to do right now. Let me save. Okay, so I just configured that setting on the back end there. And now what I want to do is I basically want to test this. Let's access this page in an incognito tab, so that way we can see it with the most recent updates. We're not getting a cached version, we're not getting a cookied version, hopefully. So as you guys always realize that the content will always load first regardless. Prioritizing user experience is an absolute must and is an absolute massive. But again, so now when I activate the placeholders after I reconfigure things kind of on the back end, let's let this load. Cool. So this is a video, that's totally fine. This looks awesome. We also have it showing up in the sidebar, which we weren't before, but now it makes me a little bit more hesitant to add a sidebar floating. But as you guys can see, this sidebar ad is now not showing, which is awesome. We do not want them showing at the same time. Okay, so they're saying, yes, remove it. I did have a Humix video floating, but I don't see it. So now you do have this Humix video loading. So I don't want to enable the sidebar floating ad if you do have a Humix video there. But as you guys can see, this is really cool. Humix is an awesome feature. It did this for Mike as it could for you. It will basically turn some of your content into videos. So I was going to add a sidebar floating here, but again, you guys can see this video here. That's awesome. That's beautiful. Cool. All in all, Mike, this is a really, really good setup. Again, the AdSense ad that was showing, that was definitely like just an immediate red flag, which is why I kind of, really wanted to get that dialed in as soon as possible. But let's just attack speed a little bit. So I can see that your cache has actually been a bit lower for the past couple days. That's totally fine. But if you're not making any changes to your pages or editing them or anything like that, just don't clear your cache for URL or the entire domain, because that will reset or hinder or kind of take a hit on your cache hit rate. So if you're making no changes, just allow your cache to build up. And I do want to check out your cache settings really quick. So I can go to speed, and then I can go to this caching tab right here. I see enable cache for cookies is on. I see he has his default cache age set to 30 days. That's beautiful. Maximum cache. I think this can be increased if I'm not mistaken, but then everything else looks great. So again, if you're not making any changes to your pages, just let that cache build up over time. You don't have any technologies being flagged, which is absolutely beautiful. That is exactly what we want to see. You have all of these enabled so far. Again, there are a couple you could be enabling, as you guys can see here. But if you do want to enable these settings, you can do change settings. you can turn them on. And then before you set them live, what I would always suggest doing is previewing your entire pages. Your mobile versions, your tablet versions, your desktop versions. Go through your menu, check all your images, check your sidebar. Just make sure nothing is funky going on, and then so that way we don't activate a version that is actually breaking some of your pages. But as you guys can see right here in the overview, we didn't have enough data to pull yet to actually accurately analyze these scores, which is fine. As you guys saw, he hasn't seen a ton of users yet to his pages, which is why. But something that's really cool with the Chrome extension. So if we go back to this page, we know this is its highest performing page. We can actually use the Chrome extension to analyze the site speed now. So you can see, currently logged as admin, blah, 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 it's okay. So YouTube is not recommended. Astra is not recommended. So these are some of the technologies now that are showing. So when these are being flagged, I think a lot of you guys get confused because you're saying, hey, this has a red exclamation. It's saying that I should probably remove it, but I don't really want to remove it. How Leap was built out and designed is basically just to flag anything on your pages that were hindering site speed from an unbiased standpoint. So when you do analyze site speed, you can see absolutely everything that is taking a hit on site speed. It's not going to come in with bias and say, hey, we want you to use this, not that. No, it's just going to say, hey, you're using this, and this is how much it's hurting your site speed. So it's not that we don't want you using these buttons. That's not it at all. Or converter kit, that's not it at all. It's just saying that you are using these, and throughout the data that we have on all of this shows that it is detrimental to you and X percentage of other publishers using it. That's what these recommendations are. So that's why they're recommendations and not like to-do list. But then we can go from alerts to LCP. 91 seconds. Okay, so I'm assuming this is going to be, let's see. Let's debug this cache really quick. Cache hit detected. Oops. CLS 0.07. I'm curious why this was loading at 91 seconds. Let's run this back. I mean, as you guys can see, this image loaded just about absolutely instantly. All of them did. So this LCP, let's see. Okay, 0.9 seconds. Probably because now I'm being served a cache page. So a lot of times when you guys do reach out about LCP errors, a lot of the times the first thing I'll say is, hey, let's check out your cache hit percentage and let's see what your cache settings are looking like, because there is a correlation between your LCP and your cache. The higher your cache hit rate, the better your LCP scores. For this exact reason, we can serve these pages a lot quicker and faster. Now they're both loading very well. But all in all, Mike, you have a really good placeholder setup. You have a really good Leap setup. You don't have too many technologies getting flagged. I guess now you are here. You're using Lightspeed cache. We can run into some issues with this. Same thing with Rank Math SEO, which is why when you see this little indicator here, when we were actually in the optimization settings, you were saying, hey, look, there actually could be some issues. This exclamation point is going to be linked back to your Rank Math SEO plugin. Back to Core Web Vitals. I'm curious to see. So when you do go to Core Web Vitals, and let's say I'm in LCP, it will show your worst performing pages. But I'm curious to see when we view them. As you guys can tell, the LCP loaded insanely fast. All the content always loads first, and then ads. So this actually looks really good. Definitely quicker than 3 seconds. Cool. Yeah, your scores are absolutely dialed in, Mike. This looks awesome. Again, if you guys have others you want me to do it with, then I'm totally fine. But I'm actually going to present my screen again. In the spirit of monetizing more, I was going to check out other settings they might have. So as you can tell, Mike has had his setup dialed in basically to the T. His placeholders look really great. His cache is set up really great. His scores are really, really good. So let's just go through and see what else there is. So it looks like he might have linked his account yet, or his AdSense account, but if he was using AdSense in the past, which I'm assuming he was, which is why we had that sidebar placeholder ad showing, we want to make sure that you do link your AdSense account with the Zoic and you import historical data. This is important and valuable for you all. It's because it allows our AI to actually analyze some of that data, and it kind of serves as a catalyst for our AI's learning and its learning curve. So it will help with your revenue right off the bat. It'll help with user experience right off the bat, and it'll help our AI in the long run and short term. We do go into, but again, Mike, if you want to send me your pub ID privately after, I can actually add the pub ID to your backend, and then this will go away. I think that's probably why this is still showing there. But let's go through his general settings. He has all of them enabled. That's beautiful. Great to see. He's got it on for tablet, mobile, desktop. He has his beta ad formats. These are basically ad formats that we're currently testing. If you want to participate, for sure, send it in there. He's got vignette ads, floating video ad is enabled. Beautiful. So these placeholders here at the top are actually going to be the placeholders that he added individually. These will not be the Chrome extension ones. And then these ones down here will be the WordPress plugin generated ones. This is the AdSense mediation. Okay, so Mike, your AdSense mediation is currently pending. So I definitely want to get that pub ID from you, because when I do, that link AdSense thing at the top will, that'll go away, but then we can fully link up mediation for you. So when this shows pending, and if you guys also see pending on your screen right here, this means that it has been initiated but not fully set up yet. Reach out to us and we can get that dialed in. If you're seeing a red word that says delete, or like deleted or delete, I think it just says delete, that actually means it's fully set up and you're good to go. You don't actually have to delete it. But yeah, so this means we need to fully set up your mediation, and that's definitely something, Mike, that I want to do directly after this. Mike, if you want to send me your pub ID, I'm going to drop my email in the comment section. Just send me your email really quickly, or excuse me, send me an email with your pub ID, and I'll be more than happy to do that. No direct ad orders. You guys can use this max ads per page app. It's great if you want to optimize user experience for maybe some of your longer or shorter pages. You can basically say, hey, for less than 400 words, I don't want more than X amount of ads to show. Or if a page is this long, I only want X amount of ads to show. But again, if you did set up some of these rules and you're curious why your revenue is hurting, this is going to be the reason why. Is because you are setting limits to what our ad tester can actually do. But this looks awesome. Again, something else I would like to look at is when I go to content. You can see here objectionable content. This will basically pull all the pages where our script and cron are running that will flag bad or inappropriate words. And why this is important to this monetization equation is because when we do flag something on a page like this, we're actually going to stop ads from showing. So when you do have something in objectionable content showing right here, and let's say you had 400 hits on that page, or maybe 4,000 or whatever it is, that means all those users were not showing ads. You're like, hey, I just produced some new content. Why aren't I seeing more earnings? My revenue for this page is literally zero. Checking your objectionable content is really good. And if you're sitting there and saying, hey, I write recipe articles, there's absolutely no reason why any of my pages will get flagged by objectionable content. Well, if you have your comment section enabled and open for people to comment, if they were to comment something inappropriate or explicit, our cron will still pick that up as objectionable content and remove the ads from the page. So if you're sitting there saying, uh-oh, I have a comment section, I haven't been monitoring it, I'm so curious, go to the objectionable content. If something's being flagged and it is a comment, just remove the comment entirely. And then once you remove that, this cron or the script will basically run, the cron will run twice a day. So if you remove it and you're not seeing ads within 30 minutes, that's okay. Just wait a couple of hours for the cron to run next. And once the cron picks up that that word has been removed, ads will start to show again. This is also another good one. Error pages. This will be a list of pages that are receiving error. Sorry, broke my mouth for a second. This will show all the pages that are receiving errors. And when that happens, it's going to be a similar result. Your users aren't even going to be able to access the page. There's going to be no earnings, no ads, no revenue, and could actually contribute to users basically just like bouncing and not coming back. So that's another thing to always check. If you guys have messed around with a lot of settings, one of the best things you guys can do to all optimize your ePMV is do exactly what Mike did. Let's set those traffic percentages to 100%. This is going to say, hey, 100%. This is basically saying that 100% of the users are going to be seeing Ezoic versions of your pages, and that will basically give our AI more data to learn. It'll expedite the learning. It'll expedite higher revenue, and this is just a really good practice, especially if you're running AdSense prior and like, hey, I want to split test AdSense. We'll just send your traffic to 100%. Set up AdSense mediation, and then you'll be golden. You'll be fully dialed in to earn as much as possible for every visit on every version of your page. This is another one. If you guys really are just like, hey, my users love my content, they're not going anywhere, they're going to keep coming back. Let's actually hit this to revenue focused. That will basically tell our AI it's okay to maybe test 2 or 3 more ads on a page, or it's basically just going to say, hey, let's be a little bit more aggressive in our ad placement. And then quite the contrary, if you want to do user experience focused, our AI will then take a more conservative layout, might show a couple less ads, a couple smaller ads, etc. But as you guys can see, we always recommend the default balanced, because it is, this is all built off and based off the previous data we have on this. So if you're saying, I still want to consider user experience, which you all should, it's very, very important and vital. Keep it on balanced. Cool. And then yeah, if you guys ever see like any warnings or issues or anything here with your DNS, it's always a good idea just to reach out to us and say, hey Charlie, I have this error. I don't know what it means. I don't see any issues with it. But we can definitely help with that. Okay. That was a bit of a tangent, and I do apologize. Let me get back to some of these questions, but hopefully that was beneficial for some of you guys. Just do it like it says. I moved to Ezoic hosting. How long will things get settled down like cache copied to all CDNs? My page speed still shows slowness, mainly due to ads, double-click ads, etc. So again, slowness of your pages actually will not be from ads. Of course, we have the script enabled, but the content always loads first. So when you guys do see issues with your site speed, of course, it's easy to say and point your finger at ads, but there are usually 10 other things that I can point out that will actually be way more detrimental to site speed than ads itself. Just do it like you know it. If you want to give me your domain name, I can for sure check this out as well. But to answer the other part of your question, when you said how long will things take to settle down, like cache copy to all CDNs, so this actually can depend on when you cleared your cache. Let's say you cleared your cache yesterday, and now we have 4 AWS servers within the United States. Let's say one request was made to a page. Let's say they're all to your homepage, just for standardized reasons. Let's say a request was made to your homepage from Ohio, Virginia, and Oregon. Let's say those 3. Once a second request is made on those servers for those pages, those will all be detected cache hits. So let's say all your users visit all your pages on all 4 CDNs in the United States. If there was a second request to that page within the 30-day time frame, then those will all be cache hits. So it kind of depends on where your traffic is coming from, not only by the country, but by the state. And then also how many requests are being made to that page in a day. So it's a bit hard to answer that question directly. But again, if you're seeing, let's say 400 visitors a day, they're all coming from the same region, maybe, or even different regions, your cache could build up 100%, maybe over like 5 or 6 days. Again, that's very ballpark and generic and not very, not super accurate, but that's kind of the underlying idea there. Codevo says, Charlie, I noticed the AI placeholder at the top sidebar displays the ad when the website loads, but after the JavaScript is loaded, the ad vanishes for before it appears again. Site. Okay, let me pull this up. I think I follow you here, but let's do the first step. As always, what I do every single time I look at these is it's just going to be recreating the error. I know we've worked with you a bunch in the past. Codevo or Codevo definitely knows what they're talking about. So if they ever offer advice, I would say it's probably it's very credible, and it's definitely something you would want to consider because they do have a good extensive bit of knowledge on not only building websites, but on code, but on how this whole process works. But yeah, let's check out one of your pages. I'm gonna go to one of the newest pages. Present my screen. This page, I just clicked on this page, so it's still loading in. But let's see. Cool, this is the sidebar floating. This one fills. I mean, this is a really great domain. I know that's irrelevant, but I just want to say this is also just a really great domain. All the articles are built out super well. If you guys are into this type of stuff, their website, as you guys can see, these articles are extensive. They are very detailed. They have a lot of images to help you out. But as you guys can tell, this is a very, very long article, which is totally fine. But this sidebar placeholder is probably going to be popping off in a very good way. I mean that in a very good manner, not a bad one. But again, that sidebar. So they were saying the question was, I'm gonna pull it up right here. Charlie, I noticed the AI placeholder at the top sidebar displays the ad when the website loads, but after the JavaScript is loaded, the ad vanishes before it appears again. So obviously at this point, the JavaScript has loaded. This could be an issue. But it did load for me as well. I don't know if this was a different AI sidebar. I don't know if you added one that was different, but it does look really good to me. But let me visit another page too after. So here's the AI placeholder that we were talking about. Sidebar floating. Again, this setup looks really, really good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to deactivate this, load the page again, and then I'm actually just going to access this page bypassing all cache and cookies, or bypassing all cache. So this is a good kind of little like trick tip for you all. I can't believe I just used that word in a streaming website live stream. That was also word vomit as well. But this trick tip, if you guys want to ever access a page bypassing cache, so if you're saying, hey, why aren't my new posts showing? Hey, I just made edits. Why aren't they showing on this page? If you want to test if this issue is directly correlated with cache, what you're going to do is you're going to go question mark at the very top. You see there? I'm going to go no cache, question mark, no cache, and I'm going to have no spaces in there as well. No caps, doesn't really matter. Question mark, no cache will access this page bypassing cache. So this will basically be like a fresh visit to the page. Okay. Excuse me, I'm having hiccups. But Codevo, so it does look like maybe you are getting served like a bad version of this. Maybe you have you're cookied into an old version, maybe you're cached into an old version. But this AI sidebar looks great. Pretty darn adorable. Crochet says, need to feed my fam. Is it okay if I email you for some help on that? Yes, go ahead and send me an email. I could probably answer your first question for you and then probably point you in the right direction of where to go from there. But yes, please feed your family. I know sometimes I just ramble on, but yeah, go ahead, feed your family. That's definitely very important. I'm sure the kids will be screaming at you. But I do want to say really quickly, if you're still here, thank you for joining, and I hope to see you again in the future. But again, Codeville, I don't know if you had made changes since then, but this AI sidebar placeholder looks absolutely great. It's loading fine for me. Your setup looks honestly so good. This floats. You did a really, really good job with that. I don't know if there's anything else you want me to look into. I'll leave your domain up for a little bit. But I kind of want to continue through for a little bit. They also asked, when I was using Cloudflare, I had a firewall rules blocking bots. Since I am now using name server integration instead with Zoic, will they take care of it? I kind of butchered that bottom part of it, but you get the idea. Yes, we will take care of it, but let me show you exactly what you need to do on your end. So as you guys know, Cloudflare is a integration option, but it serves basically the same purpose and function as name server integration. But what you can actually do is, hold on, let me stop sharing my screen really quick. I just want to pull up their dashboard so I can show you exactly where to do this. Cool. As you guys can see, they've just been leveled up to level 1. So if we can get a nice round of applause in the chat for them, beautifully done. I'm very, very happy to see that. Again, they've been working hard. They know a lot about Zoic. They know a lot about how this process goes down. So I just want to say congrats on the success so far. Well done. And now that I was saying that, I don't even remember what I was doing. Oh, I do. The Cloudflare. Okay, so you can see that they're now currently integrated via name servers. If you go to more details, you can kind of see that. But you actually see Cloudflare here. So you can still activate Cloudflare on your account when you are name server integrated. So that way you still have those same features. You can enable, I'm under attack mode or DDoS. There's more DDoS protection. But you can still manage all that right here. And what you'll basically do is just click activate via a Zoic account. So the main variance between Cloudflare integration and enabling Cloudflare on name server integration is the fact that when you integrate via Cloudflare, you're actually going to you're going to have your name servers pointed to Cloudflare, and then you're just going to log into your personal Cloudflare account in the dashboard. But when your name server integrated, you're going to have your name servers pointed to the Zoic name servers, and then what you can do is just click activate here, and that's going to put you on a Zoic's Cloudflare account, and then you can manage your kind of settings from there. So I didn't see any. Wash. Exactly right. Definitely wash hands. Wash hands. But yeah, Codeville. I don't know if you're still in here, but if you are and you want me to activate Cloudflare on your account, I can do that for you, and I can show you guys what it looks like. But I'm not sure if you're still in here yet, so you can basically do that through here. Okay, Mike, thank you for sending that over. I'll definitely go right ahead and link mediation for you and get that all dialed in. Cool. Looks like I'm currently all caught up on questions, so I'm gonna. Oh, you said yes. As I say that. No, I really hope you guys find these live streams beneficial, whether you pick up, one thing or another. I will be doing even more of these in the future, maybe even like 3 days a week. But I'm definitely gonna be working on producing more content for you guys, so you can, whether that be through the onboarding, the initial steps, long-term ePMV optimization, dialing your leap. But if you guys do have something you want me to cover in the future, please let me know. I'll make a note for it, and I can definitely cover that. But now that he says yes, I'm gonna go activate via a Zoic account, and boom, and boom, and Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so now you have it activated on your account. And that's basically it. Pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory. But now you do have a similar setup to your Cloudflare integration. You're still integrated through our CDN, still using the same AWS servers, and now you still have Cloudflare enabled on your account, just through our account. Cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, we did revamp. I know I've been saying this a bunch. We did revamp our affiliate link program. The incentives are a lot higher, but basically how it works is, sorry, I'm spilling stickers everywhere. We actually do have cash bonuses currently available. So if, let's say Mike was to refer me, my website, to a Zoic. I have not been signed up with the Zoic in the past. If Mike were to refer my domain, once I signed up, integrate, and start showing ads, once I hit $10 of total revenue, Mike will get $10. So not from my earnings, he's going to get an additional cash bonus $10. So Mike refers me, I go live, I hit $10 in total revenue, whether that's after 2 months or whether that's after 1 day. Once I hit $10, Mike gets $10 cash bonus directly sent out to him, added to his earnings, doesn't have to do anything, it's fully automated. Once I hit $100 of revenue over, let's say, the next 2 months, or maybe even the third or fourth day, depending on how big my site is. Once I hit $100 in total revenue, Mike gets a $20 cash bonus. So now that I've hit $100 total revenue, I'm doing well, and Mike now has $30 in total of cash bonuses. Once I hit $200 of total revenue, again, no timeline, Mike will then get $50 cash bonus. So now Mike is at $80 in total for cash bonuses once I've hit $200. Final step of that, once I hit $400 of revenue, Mike will get a $100 cash bonus. So that is $180 of cash bonuses directly, automatically sent to you once someone you refer were to hit $400. Again, it can be over a year, it can be over a month, it can be over a day. Take that to scale. If you want to refer 10 publishers that might hit $10 in revenue over a month, well, still, that's $100 of revenue once they all hit that $10. On top of that, if they were to all hit the $400, all 10 of your referrals, that's $1,800 directly sent out to you. Mike, once I'm done with this live stream, and then I'll link it. I actually have to do that on the back end, so I can't share my screen directly doing that. But once I'm done with this live stream, I'm just gonna walk over to the main office, and then to my desk, and then do it from there. But I will respond to your email too. I'll just say, hey, Mike, thanks for coming again. I'll probably throw in some jargon like that, and then I'll say, hey, you should now see it updating your dashboard within like the 20 minutes or so. But yeah, do you guys have any other questions? I know I did a bunch of rambling. I did a bunch of screen sharing. Sometimes I just word vomit. Sometimes I just compliment your site. But I want to ask if you guys do have any other questions. And while I do that and wait, I just wanted to say thank you so much all for joining. I know these live streams are a bit lengthy. We can make them longer. We can make them shorter. I can come in here and just say, hey, I'm going to cover these 4 things in the next 30 minutes, and that's it. If that's more beneficial for you all, then let me know. I'm more than happy to do that. But I just want to say, I'm always willing to fight for you guys. I'm always going to be putting in the best word for you in the company. I don't need to because everyone speaks highly of our publishers. But I'm always going to be, fighting for you guys. I'll always listen to the recommendations you have. If the community is really confusing, we're going to make the changes for you all because we don't want it to be that way. There's no point of us putting in all the work if it's still confusing for you all. But yeah, you guys can basically use me in any way to, give a Zoic feedback and vice versa. Reach out to me for help. I will always be doing that. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll be doing another live stream tomorrow. What time has been to be determined, but it sounds like some users would benefit from having a bit earlier in the day. I know I'm on the far eastern side of the world, so maybe having one earlier during the day, I could tap into some of the European audience or African audience early on. yeah, I really just want to say thank you all so much for joining. I love talking to you guys. I love showing you all that I am a real person. I do really care about you guys all and your success, and I always will. I'll always do whatever I can to, if you guys see $1 improvement in your ePMV, I will put in the work to do that whenever I can. Yeah, again, I just want to say thank you all for joining, and I hope I get to see you guys soon. But have a good one. Bye.